I actually went to well, I didn't really physically go, but Sundance had a lot of really cool horror stuff come out this year. So I low key kind of like attended my first Sundance Film Festival. They had a bunch of like horror films that came out that a lot of people have been talking about, but I wanted to bring up one that really hasn't been talked about much at a Sundance, and I don't think it's been picked up by anybody yet. The distributors like basically just putting it in Sundance now. I don't know if anybody's purchased it yet or not, so I don't know when people can actually see this, but it's one to definitely put on your radar. It's called Piggy, and it is essentially like a fat shaming film. And the main girl is Spanish, and she works at her family's butcher shop. And immediately when you see this opening scene, sure enough, it sounds a lot like the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. It looks a lot like it too. And throughout the entire film, essentially there is a serial killer that pops up. And no one in the town really knows any connection of what's going on with the serial killer. But what we learn, and this is not really a spoiler because this is basically the basic premise of the movie, is that the main character um, is essentially being bullied by multiple people around the town. And they're mostly like kids around her age, some adults too. And after they get bullied, after this girl gets bullied, they actually die off one by one. The people end up missing or murdered. And they really don't have any kind of explanation of what exactly is going on. You know, if it's like a person doing this, or if it was an animal attack or something like that. So by the end, there's a lot of crazy stuff that goes on, and I don't want to give away anything because again, it's not really available anywhere right now. But the last scene itself, you will get major, major, major like throwback horror Texas Chainsaw Massacre vibes. And I actually attended the Q&A afterwards. There was like a live stream Q&A, and the director herself said that the entire premise of the movie was based around her love for like old school kind of like 1970s style horror films, and especially the Texas Chainsaw Massacre was one that really got her inspired to make this. So it was like really kind of cool to see like a feminist horror movie, body positive, and then turn around at the end and throw like a Texas Chainsaw Massacre kind of like gritty, kind of like grindhouse vibe to it. And it has every single piece of a like horror movie that you'd want to see in terms of like a Texas Chainsaw Massacre, like kind of throwback style horror film. So it's really, I would 100% suggest checking it out when it comes out. Again, I don't know when it will be, but it was originally based. I know you can watch the short film. It's based on a short film called Piggy. I think it came out last year or the year before, and it was actually really, really well received. And you can see that on YouTube, the short film Piggy. And this is basically just an extension of that short film. So that is something to look out for when it does come out.
Sounds good.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. And after, I mean, after you watch Texas Chainsaw Massacre and all the incarnations of that, it'd be kind of nice to check out Piggy too. So